Y'all, please excuse the quality of this video. I got lazy and I didn't feel like hooking up my phone to my laptop to create a viewfinder, so I used the front-facing camera, and the front-facing camera don't have that best quality, so just excuse the quality. Okay. Miss Independent, that's why I love her. Okay, we get it, we're independent. But really though, like, I feel like we're tired of being the mom and the dad in the black family structure. Let's go ahead and let's be back into our representing into our feminine selves, right? And I feel like that's where we talk about the whole soft girl era. Striving to be the great mom, the great friend, the great wife, the great girlfriend, the great whatever outside of ourselves. Like, we just want to finally sit back and receive love. You know what I mean? Like, is that so hard to ask? Black women especially, okay, because you know soft girl era has to do with women in general, but black women specifically, we're tired of just being strong, okay, and being angry about it. We're ready to receive love. So I wanted to start off this video with a high-level conversation clip featuring 19 Keys and Tariq Nasheed. They kind of talk about, briefly, they kind of touch on like the soft life and stuff like that. And I thought that what they were saying, I definitely kind of dissected a little bit of it in my video. So go ahead, take a look. And also, y'all get comfortable, okay? Grab your weed, grab your wine, grab your food, whatever you need, and sit down, and we're going to have this chat, okay?
And she knew the terrain so well that it was going to be impossible for them to defeat her. But the beauty of when her story ends, that she wins and she refuses to take any treatise from the queen, and she goes back and become a gardener. And she lives a soft life. And to me, that's the story of like, doing a 180, right? A woman masculizing herself into the logical warfare to help her people get free, and then going back into the harmony of her feminine energy, right? And going back into softness. And so we have to learn, number one, there's no great revolution without black women, right? There's no nothing. But what is the end result? Our women have to be able to get back into their softness. Not to stay in a state of masculinity because they had to masculize themselves for warfare. Right? And that's what we're dealing with. So when people go through economic warfare and they're in poverty, that is a state and a condition that the people must fight out of. So if the black man is not standing there with the financial education, with the ability to liberate themselves into wealth, then the woman now, of course, we know how the tools put her in that position, but she's going to masculize herself to get out of that, because state of poverty is not a state for human beings to live a quality of life.
Absolutely.
But we have to have a plan to say, okay, now our plan is to bring our women back into softness.
And we have to understand that warfare is based on deception. What you just explained, the white supremacists know that too. They understand the importance of women to go back into their femininity and men to be into their masculine bag. This is why they are always promoting sexual confusion to black people.
That's a fact.
We can't get anything financed from the dominant society unless we say we have some questions about our sexuality, then the money and the checks start rolling left and right.
That's a fact.
What he's talking about, I didn't really touch in my video. Simply because I decided that I'm going to make a whole separate video on my thoughts on the LGBTQ plus community, like the quote-unquote gay agenda, white people, and like how they've tried to destroy the black family structure. I'll be making a whole separate video on all of that.
They got black men out here, and Dr. Welsing said this was going to happen. She said this years ago. Black men are going to stop sagging, because sagging is really a form of femininity, because it mask itself as masculine gangster stuff, but really it comes out of prison and guys showing their asses to other men. She said eventually they're going to come out the sagging pants and start putting on dresses, and that's what we see now, and that's promoted all across the board towards us. When you look at hip-hop award shows now, you got more dudes with dresses than women now.
That's a fact.
That's propaganda. So now you have black men being told to be more feminine. So naturally, that's going to make the women more masculine because who's going to protect me?
That's
Not
a
this
fact.
nigga in a dress.
Right.
Oh. Hello. Good job. Today we're going to have a little sip and talk, okay? Usually I have weed and I do a smoking chat, but I'm so full right now. I just smoked before I ate, so I'm so full right now. I don't even feel like rolling up again and smoking again. I just can't. So I'm gonna go ahead and sip on some wine while I chit chat with you guys about the topic of this video, which is the soft girl era and just that whole like thing in terms of like, I feel like that's like been a trend lately. Just talking about the soft girl era, and like, you know, being in your feminine energy and just being a soft girl and all this stuff. So I just want to give my little 2 cents on this topic because, you know, why not? This wine glass is so fucking cute. Look how cute this wine glass is. Not me literally breaking a wine glass as soon as I finish recording this video. I got it from my job.
Setting the pure air speed to 2.
Thank you. Okay, now that I have all the narcotics near me, let's go ahead and get started. Now I'm feeling good. I just finished eating some vegan nachos. I'm full, I'm stuffed, okay? I'm ready to talk, ready to just chillax. I'm off today. And yeah, okay. I feel like I wrote some things down for this topic. All right, so for starters, I just wanted to sort of like acknowledge feminism. I feel like feminism is like the main topic around the soft girl era. You know what I mean? Like the main root topic of the soft girl era. I feel like let's take a minute to just acknowledge like the evolution of feminism. In terms of like women's rights and like, you know, all those things. Like in the 1960s in America, not the 1960s, but all the way like from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, that whole time frame. Black women in America, let's not even talk about black women. Women in America, period, because black women, we were dealing with our own separate whole other bullshit on top of, you know, feminism and fighting for women's rights and being a woman, right? So I feel like in that whole time frame, that was a time frame where a lot of women were fighting for their rights to vote, you know, like just basic stuff. Let's be real. I feel like we got, or I feel like society and like the whole societal norm of patriarchy is all from white people and European culture, okay? Back then, before slavery and stuff like that in Africa, black people, we weren't doing that shit. We were actually very matriarchal, and we were praising our women, and we were loving on our women, and we were, you know, it just wasn't, we didn't have to fight for women's rights, you know what I mean? Because we knew that the woman was valuable, and she created life, and she could bring life to the world, and she's very intuitive and all those other things. We knew that about women, you know, in Africa back then. But I don't know, patriarchy is a white people thing. So that whole thing, when they brought that shit to America, that changed up some shit. Fast forward to the 1930s, 40s, 50s, when women are fighting for their rights and stuff, fighting for the right to vote, all the other stuff, whatever. And then fast forward to what the 60s, 70s, when wars are happening, Vietnam War, whatever, World War, all the World War, well, that was the 40s, but like all the, like the world was just warring, right? Okay. I'm not about to get into the specifics because I really don't feel like I know some facts, but I don't feel like getting into the details about those facts. You know what I mean? So yeah, fast forward to 1960s. Black women or women, we were black women. We were starting to take the forefront in terms of black people and our liberation, let alone black women liberation, let alone being fighting for our rights and stuff like that. As a woman, we were just black women. We were just already sort of taking forward. We were already sort of like just being the forefront in terms of like taking our liberation and being very vocal about our freedom and our rights and civil rights and things like that. Black Panther movement. Black Panthers would not be shit without black women. Okay, that whole movement, everything, like literally, would not be anything without black women holding it down. Okay, when Huey and the motherfucker, when they went to jail, we was holding down the fort while they would. Don't even get me started. Okay, don't even start me started. Okay, the 80s, 90s was a time when hip hop and rap was getting very popular, but the lyrics were very degrading to black women. Let's be honest. A lot of the lyrics in hip hop songs are just degrading to black women, especially back then. They didn't care. You know what I mean? Like, it was just at some point we sort of like. I feel like at some point black people and the way the black family structure sort of worked, we started to not care about our black women as much. We started not to value them as much. And I feel like we can't really blame anybody for the demise of the black family structure in terms of our community, because patriarchy and things like that were things that were taught from white people. So, like, we can't really point the blame, like if it was women or if it was men, because we were both being attacked. And during days of enslavement, you had the white master rape your wife right in front of you. You know what I mean? That's a very demasculizing thing to do. So, like, just from the start of that fucked up our whole family structure, and then being sold off to different slave masters, things like that. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. And we started to look at them as just objects, as sex objects, and we started to adopt the white man's view of a woman, really, in terms of patriarchy and how they want men to be seen as on top and all that stuff. It was just pimps and hoes. That was what we rapped about in songs back then. And yeah, we just started not to care as much. On top of the fact that drugs and guns were being shipped into our neighborhoods in order to just kill each other, and in order for us to kill our own selves. That whole thing from the government, all those things, and gangs and stuff started, gang violence and drug abuse and overdoses, all those things started becoming very prevalent in the community around that time. That whole thing in terms of like the three strikes you're out rule, boom, then you have mass incarceration. You know what I mean? Black men being sent to jail in mass numbers, black fathers being sent to jail in mass numbers. And so now you have black women, single black women, raising our kids, and that's how we have the whole culture stamp, the culture stamp in terms of like black womanhood in our culture. You know what I mean? Black single mothers is a very it's not super, it's very definitely dwindling down, but definitely I feel like around that time, 70s, 80s, 90s, especially when mass incarceration was a big deal. You got sent to jail for being black, let alone carrying a little ounce of weed on you. You know what I mean? So shit like that started happening around that time. And so after that, after our black fathers were being sent to jail in mass numbers and black women were being left to just to basically sort of take on the role of a father in their own sort of family structure, I'm honestly like, now that I'm looking back at it, I'm sort of like overarchingly describing the destruction of the black family culture, you know, in throughout the years, throughout in the 1900s, basically, like the destruction of the black family culture, and how that sort of ties into the soft girl area, which is I'm about to tie all of this together in a minute into like the soft girl era and what I'm, you know, the main topic of this video. But I just feel like I have to preference all of this with some backstory, some history, some context. You got black moms, you know, taking on the role of black fathers who are in jail now for mass incarceration, drug war on drugs, things like that. And so naturally, a black woman is going to take on some masculine energy, you know. Me personally, I believe that every single person on this earth has masculine and feminine energy. So a man has feminine energy and a man has masculine energy. A woman has feminine energy and she has masculine energy in her as well. I feel like in terms of that's just how in my eyes, that's just how life works. That's just how biology works. Feminine, as females, we naturally lean more towards the feminine side. As men, as masculine men, or not masculine men, but as men who represent the masculine category, they naturally lean towards being more masculine. But every person, every sex, every gender has masculine and feminine energy in them. Every single body, everybody on this earth has a mixture of both. And some people lean towards one other side, you know what I mean? That's how they get the whole spectrum. It's a spectrum, right, of masculine and feminine energy. So I feel like going back to back then and the war on drugs and mass incarceration and black fathers being sent to jail in mass rates, and you know the whole black single mom thing in the culture started being very prevalent. I feel like naturally black women had to adopt more masculine energy in order to take place of the fact, in order to compensate and take place for the lack of fatherhood of being a mom, of, you know, of their kids, of, you know what I mean, like for the sake of their kids, basically. She had to be the mom and the dad, basically. And I feel like that's how you get the whole thing of angry black woman, angry black mom, just like the whole negative stereotype surrounding single black motherhood and how single black moms are looked at as sort of, you know, we appreciate you for your hard work, but we really don't give a fuck about you, and that's really about it. So that's where like we started adopting, like black women just started adopting like just independency and knowing that, okay, so our black men are either in gangs, they're either in jail, they're either, you know, trying to make it in school, just the negative stereotypes around black men, right? They're either trying to just, you know, make it, trying to stay out of the two and just trying to, you know, play basketball and get a scholarship for school in basketball and just try to be an athlete, you know what I mean? Or you do a little bit of, you dabble in a little bit of gangbanging and then you turn into a rapper. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of the two options for black men, and that's how that started in terms of like black people and black men. Obviously this is not, I'm talking about the stereotypes here. I'm not, you know, generalizing. I'm not trying to generalize on people. I'm not trying to generalize black men, black women. I'm just talking about how the negative stereotypes came to be, really. Tying that into soft girl era, I feel like going back to like black women being independent and wanting to you know, sort of just realize that we're independent and like, you know, we don't need no man, fucking nigga, you know. And that's how we have this whole era of like, you know, not era of city girls, but like that's how, you know, I feel like that's, now we're moving into the 2000s, 2010, 2020 era in terms of like fuck niggas get money. Black women were independent. We know that we don't really need a man for money anymore, because historically generations have shown that, you know, us being raised by black single moms and our fathers being in jail or being, you know, whatever, being our fathers being in jail, gang banging, selling drugs just to try to make a way, let alone the black family, and try to heal the black family structure. I feel like we adopted this whole independency, right? The song that popped into my head is I Don't Give a Fuck, IDGAF, by, is her name Kenny Man? I don't know. I'm gonna put it on the screen. Listen to the lyrics. Listen to the song. That song bangs. I love that song. I be blasting that song, like, period. I don't give a fuck. I don't give, like, yes, that's a great song. But, like, that's what I mean. If you really take a listen to, if you really take a pause, okay, first of all, listen to the song. Turn up to the song when you first hear it, because I know you're gonna be like, okay, hold on, this is hidden, right? Y'all, basically, I started coughing and choking and dying, and so, like, I went ahead and I got off camera and I got some water and stuff. So by the time I sat back down, I totally forgot that I was even talking about that song by Kinderman. So just go ahead and listen to my next point. We thought that we needed, like, yes, a family, having a black man and a black woman together to raise a family, to raise a child. That is so important, and we should not ever try to think that that's not important. We should never try to just, I guess, like, diminish that value and sort of just wash over that and graze over how important and valuable it is to have masculine and feminine energy in the home raising a child, you know, who has both of those things, and they need a balance of both, and they need a equal representation of what those things look like, right? I think it's very, very important to protect and not look at that part of, you know, the old-fashioned way as being less valuable. It is still very important in my eyes. I feel like it's still very important to have a balance of masculine and feminine energy in a household when you're raising a child, let alone children, let alone generations. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's important to have a healthy representation of masculine and feminine energy. And that is oftentimes naturally represented as a woman being feminine and a man being more masculine. But I feel like it's also super important to uphold and protect the old-fashioned way of a manly man, and a girly girl, you know, quote-unquote, raising a family, in terms of a man being in his full representing masculine energy, and a woman being in her full feminine energy. And I feel like that's where we bring up the topic of soft girl era, and how, like, I think, okay, so that's, now let's tie that back into what I was saying with black women, and like how we, like, black women in America, and how black women have been sort of like, we view ourselves as being independent. We don't really need a man, because, you know, we see that, you know, from our single black moms who have raised us. They didn't need a man. They did it by themselves. They were cool, so we could do it too, right? So now we're independent and doing our own thing. But now let's tie that back into what I said about upholding the black family structure, and how I think a healthy representation of masculine and feminine energy is important to raise a child. I feel like black women, we're like, okay, we realize we're independent. We realize that we don't need a man technically to raise a child, to raise a family, because we've done it by ourselves. But we also see the importance, and we see the value of, look, I can't do this all by myself. Okay, I'm tired. I don't want to do this all by myself. I would love to have a man to help me, But if I can't, then that's fine. I'm not gonna wait on you. I'm not gonna wait on a nigga to, you know what I mean? Because look, the way that this generation is going and the way that, you know, we are constantly promoting and praising and applauding toxicity. I feel like that, like us constantly like watching and praising and liking positive, like not positivity, negativity and toxicity in relationships, I feel like just lets us know that that's what the kids right now, that's what they're looking at right now, that's what they're watching, that's what they're being fed. And it's like, come on now, we gotta do better. So I say all that to say, like, y'all, I'm high, so I'm just trying to like, I'm trying to make myself make sense, because I know what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to get y'all to understand what I'm trying to say, you know what I mean? Okay, so we got it, we independent, whatever. Miss Independent, that's why I love her. Okay, we get it, we're independent. But really though, like, I feel like we're realizing that we're tired of being in our masculine energy. We're tired of just being in our toxic masculine energy too, from, you know, our black fathers being mass incarcerated, killed, etc., etc. We're tired of that. We're tired of being the mom and the dad in the black family structure. Let's go ahead and let's be back into our representing into our feminine selves, right? And I feel like that's where we talk about the whole soft girl era, in terms of like, we're tired of, we want to be in our full feminine, you know what I mean? We want to be catered to. We want to be loved on. We want to be hugged on. We want to be kissed on, okay? We tired of going, like, having no time for ourselves and just giving our time to other people. We're tired of being the you know, striving to be the great mom, the great friend, the great wife, the great girlfriend, the great whatever outside of ourselves. Like, we just want to finally sit back and receive love. You know what I mean? Like, is that so hard to ask? Like, we really just want to sit the fuck down and receive love. And we're tired of being in our toxic masculinity, from mass incarceration and from y'all taking our men and locking them up in the jail, and now we have to, you know, be single moms and we have to raise our own kids. We're tired of that shit. We're tired of playing mommy and daddy in the black family structure. We're ready, black women especially, okay, because, you know, soft girl era has to do with women in general, but black women specifically, we're tired of just being strong, okay, and being angry about it. We're ready to receive love, and that's just period. Like, I feel like that's just end of discussion. I feel like that's what is really the root of the like, why the soft girl era, why that's being trendy right now, because we're just tired, and it's being represented in us getting our nails done more often, us doing our hair more often, us, you know, just going out and doing whatever the fuck we want to do, like, real shit, like whatever soft girl looks like for you, whether that be physical appearance and pampering yourself, or mentally taking yourself out on a walk, meditating, journaling, praying, whatever is your cup of tea. I feel like women, black women specifically, we're starting to do whatever the fuck we want to do, because we're tired of not doing whatever the fuck we want to do and being this for them, this person, her, him, and them, and they, you know what I mean? Like, we're tired of that shit. We're ready to just sit back, you feel me, and kick our feet up. Like I said, going back to the 1960s, how we black women were the forefront of the black liberation movement and the civil rights movement and the Black Panther Party. We were the ones who were, okay, let's do this shit. Okay, y'all serious? Okay, let's sit down and organize this shit. We were the ones doing that shit. And you know, our black men, they were strong, they were the voice, they were holding us down, you know, protecting us with guns and shit. But They were also still, adopting, still dabbling into the white man's patriarchy. Real shit. Around that time, we were starting to get treated. I don't want to say started. I'm sure that I don't know when that exactly started, but black men were definitely being treated. We're definitely treating black women poorly. Fast forward into the 1980s. Fuck this, fuck a bitch, suck my dick, get money, pimp. I'm pimping hoes, da 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 da. Shoot up the club and we out. Smoke a blunt, go to sleep. Like, you know what I mean? We're tired, black women specifically, we're tired of being treated as sexual objects just to be fucked and discarded, you know what I mean? Let alone us also being tired of playing mommy and daddy and trying to save the black family structure from all of the fucking stones and pebbles that have been thrown at the fucking black family structure, in the effort to destroy the black family structure. Black women, once again, we are the ones trying to hold that shit together and hold it down. Okay? If my man gets sent off to jail right now, guess who has to play mommy and daddy? Me. And guess who has to be the single mom to raise these kids? Me. And guess what? I'm gonna do it well, but I'm going to consider myself last. And I feel like that's where the soft girl era starts. We're tired. We're done. We're ready to kick our feet up, and we're ready to. I done put in the hard work as a black mom, as a black wife, as a black girlfriend, as a black woman. You know what I mean? Like, as the struggle that black women have to go through. I done did all. I'm tired. I'm tired, baby. I'm tired. I'm ready to kick my feet up. I'm ready to get my nails done. I'm ready to go out with my girls to brunch. I'm ready to get my hair done. I'm ready. Like, we're tired. Soft girl era, that's why it's really trendy right now. That's the root of why it's trendy, because we're tired. We're tired of constantly giving ourselves to causes, movements, whether that be about ourselves, our kids, our men, whoever. You know what I mean? We're tired of giving ourselves to movements and causes and nobody giving a fuck about us. You know what I mean? Not even our black men. Come on, black man. We gotta do better. We gotta do better. And I feel like the rebuttal to that is Kevin Samuels. And rest in peace. R.I.P. to his soul. But that's the name that comes to mind when I think about the rebuttal in terms of like, okay, well, black. First of all, I feel like we have to do better across all boards. Black men, y'all have to start speaking up for black women more often, and black women, y'all have to start giving men and stop like. I feel like there's a thing with black women too, where we get into this mode of mothering, and we have to try to, make you better and. Try to bring you back to health. You know what I mean? Whether you're a black girlfriend or you're a wife, we have to sort of like mother you. You know what I mean? Because naturally we're nurturers. We're natural helpers, and so I feel like it comes from good intention. But I feel like the way that black men may receive it, or the way that I've been seeing, black men's rebuttal to the way some black women give love is like it's not in a like lovey-dovey way. Like, it's in a very negative, pushy sort of way. You know what I mean? And it's in a very sort of like angry way. But I feel like that's also justified, because not justified, but I understand, as a black woman, I understand where that's coming from. Black men, we just want to see y'all be our best selves. And I feel like we as black women, as women, intuitively, we know what is best. Period. And I feel like we know what's best, and men try to act out what's best. You know what I mean? that may be a trait tied to masculine energy in terms of acting and doing, and feminine energy in terms of like thinking and knowing and, you know, being intuitive. So I feel like naturally we black women, we want our black men to do best. You know what I mean? We know that they can do our best, but I feel like that may come across in a way of being nagging and being a mother and being a quote unquote bitch. You know what I mean? I feel like that's where that sort of talk comes from. That's why I brought up the name Kevin Samuels, because I feel like that's what a lot of his, I feel like that's why a lot of black men sort of understand, or they subscribe to, you know, that sort of way of thinking about black relationships and that whole thing. How black men are tired themselves of dealing with our bullshit, you know what I mean? So I feel like I just have to, you know, voice that, because I always like to, you know, play devil's advocate. I always want to, I guess, not always like to play devil's advocate, but I think it's important to talk about the topic from all perspectives, all sides of the story, you know what I mean? And tying back to soft girl era and black women just being tired, and women just being tired of being put down by men and their stupid patriarchal rules of, you know, whatever, you just look sexy in the corner, but I'm the one that pay the bills and I'm the one that does the real hard work. Like, nigga, try raising these kids. Try pushing a child out of you. Now, I'm not saying that women are only good for raising kids and having children, but I'm saying that's one of the, I feel like that's one of the hard, like, quote unquote, hardest things that we have to do as women, be mothers and push the fucking kid out of us, let alone let that bitch suck on our titty for the next few months and then try to teach it to walk and shit. like it's a lot. We're tired. Like, we need our pedicure days. We need our feet done. We need our nails done. We're just tired. We're tired. Even if you're not a mother, I feel like women, we understand that it's a lot to be a woman, especially in a society that promotes and loves and praises fathers and men and masculinity and, you know, just bro culture and like patriarchy, basically. You know what I mean? Women are just the sex objects, men are the ones doing everything else. You know what I mean? When we live in a society that sort of like teaches that in subtle ways, we eventually get tired. We actually help run shit too, and we're gonna need our flowers. We're gonna need our praise. We're gonna need to be loved on. We're gonna need to be cared to. You know what I mean? It's okay to go back to the old-fashioned way, I guess, in terms of, you know, the man paying the bills and, you know, if that's what works for your family structure, if that, you know, I feel like it's okay. I feel like it's okay to go back to the old-fashioned way of a man sort of taking care of the bills and, you know, doing the quote-unquote hard work, and the man and the women staying at home, being the you know, being the care provider for their kids, cooking, cleaning, all that stuff. I feel like that's equally hard work. You know what I mean? So if that works for your family structure, if that works for your relationship, fantastic. If you're able to balance masculine and feminine energy in order to for the benefit of raising a child, raising children, raising the next generation, perfect. You know what I mean? I feel like it's not a bad thing to just go back, or not go back, but just do that as what has always been done. The man being in his masculine energy, being the provider, and the woman being in her full feminine energy of being the nurturer and taking care of the home. You know what I mean? Like, the man brings home the ingredients for dinner and the woman makes the meal. and serves the family. You know what I mean? It's okay for that to be the norm again, not just looked at as, oh, that's old fashioned, that's, you know, that's the old way of doing things. Now we're adopting a new way of making the family structure work. I'm looking at my notes right now. I'm trying to see what else I wrote down on this topic. Okay, so it says women are natural goddesses because we give to this earth and bear fruit. So naturally, we need a balancing energy of receiving energy and the feel of being taken care of or having our cups poured into because we are natural pourers. Okay, in my head, I'm trying to read that again because I know where I was getting at when I originally wrote that down, but I'm trying to, like, I guess, articulate it now. I feel like what I was saying with that is women, we are natural bearers of fruit. Not just talking about human beings. Like, let's go out into nature. A female tree bears fruit, and the male tree is like the pollen or the pollinator to bring to the seed to make the flower grow or make the flower sprout, if that makes sense. Like in nature, a woman is the seed and a man is the water or the sun that helps the seed germinate. You know what I mean? That makes sense. So I feel like because we are natural givers, we're natural bearers of fruit in our feminine energy, we need masculine energy to balance that out, and we need a provider, we need to receive love, we need to, be into our soft girl era because we are natural givers, so we need to receive love too. Let me see. I said Black women are finally leaving their toxic masculine era behind. Yeah. I mean, we don't want to be strong if we have to go through bullshit that we don't deserve, let alone our own Black men. We don't want to be strong no more. You know what I mean? We don't want to be the quote unquote strong Black woman. So now we're like, fuck that. I'm getting what I deserve. We're like, yeah, shoot, let's go ahead and be in our soft girl era. Let's be in our receiving energy, okay? We're tired of, being both. It's hard to do both. So now we're picking and we're choosing to just be in our feminine energy. Let's see, what else do I have in my notes about this topic? It says, at the end of the day, do you and fuck labels. Facts. Things that naturally work, it's okay to let them naturally work. You know what I mean? And that's really it, y'all. That's all I have to say about this topic. If you guys have any thoughts, comments, opinions, leave it in the comment section down below. I want to start a conversation. I love, just talking about interesting, deep shit and, the root of things and all of that stuff. So if you have any, comments on this topic in terms of like the soft girl era and feminine energy and, what that means to you, and if you're choosing to, call yourself a soft girl or, indulge in the aesthetics of this soft girl era or trend or whatever, go ahead and leave it down in the comment section down below. Let's go ahead and please like it. Let me know down below in the comment section. And subscribe if you haven't already, because period. I know you be watching my videos and shit and you're not subscribed yet. So what you waiting for? And I will see y'all in the next video. Alright. Peace.